All right, we are live. This is Anime with Lush Tongue, Sound Meditation, Improv and Musings. And for those of you who are into those kinds of details, I made an executive decision to go without the Oxford comma between improv and musings. So it's all one continuous flow. Improv and musings, Lush Tongue, Sound Meditation, Improv, vocal improv, and musings. And let's start off with our Om. And as many of you are aware, Om is a sound that represents many things, the universality of all that is, across time, across space, across sound. So let's make this sound together. You can Om in unison with me in harmony, or you can improvise your own thing. Here we go. All right. So you recognize that this episode is all about water. We've covered the other elements over the past several weeks: air, earth, fire. Not in that order. I think it was fire, then air, then earth. And now we've come to water, which is arguably the most foundational or fundamental of the elements. I say arguably because some would argue earth and some would argue water, based primarily on the scientific notion that humans, and not just humans, but really all animals, are comprised primarily of water. And, based on the theory of evolution, if you go way back a few million years, it is widely believed that we were once much more aquatic mammals than we are now. Like now we can learn to swim, but there was a time when swimming came more naturally to us and our relationship with water, our oneness with water. It seems to take more conscious effort these days to have a healthy relationship with healthy water. Um, so, given the nature of this show, I'm not going to go into a major diatribe on climate change and the health of water that we drink and bathe with, and is such and is in us and is of us, such an intrinsic part of our lives. Instead, I'm going to go into the symbolic and archetypal qualities of water that make it such a powerful tool for us to use, particularly in our sound journey. So, as you can see here, this one tiny drop of water amidst a larger field of water. Like all the major elements that we were talking about previously, water has this amazing capacity to scale, in that when you have this one little harmless drop, it provides, just a little boop of moisture. But then when you get into the oceanic, that's where you really recognize the power and mystery of water. That something so tiny as this drop, you when you bring billions of them together, it becomes this unstoppable force. And there's so many metaphors embedded in that in terms of humanity and how, and where we're headed, and how collectively we can evolve together. There's the power of one drop, and then there's the power of the entire ocean. And water is traditionally seen as a symbol of our emotional dimension. So I spoke before about how Earth uh, tends to represent our stability or desire for stability, represents, um, firm, like being grounded, a sense of integrity, structural integrity, having the ground beneath our feet, having something foundational to lean on. Now, no one who is around today was around several millions of years ago to be able to tell us how long this rock has been floating around in space, and how long the earth, the soil on the earth has been interacting with the water on the earth. But from as far as we can tell, based on what science we have available to us now, it appears that water and earth are the two oldest elements. And then later on came air that made this environment livable for humans and other animals, and then fire, which really helped us in the whole food thing. um, so water, the emotional dimension of water. If you've ever been to an ocean or a lake or a river or waterfall, any large body of water, it's really easy to get mystified by this field of activity that more often than not on the surface looks very calm. But then just beneath the surface is this whole rich life, this whole ecosystem that we are not privy to in our everyday lives, because we're not whales or sharks, we're humans. So, there's only so much exploration that we as humans in the modern recorded era, um, only so much access that we have to these large bodies of water, even to the extent that scuba divers, or the folks who've gone to the bottom of the ocean, even with that, there's still so much mystery and so much a sense of infinity, in the same way that we experience infinity with outer space. We also experience infinity within our oceans, which is really trippy because the planet Earth itself is a finite form. It's this rock floating in space, and the water that goes all the way down to the ocean floor. It has a definite beginning and end, where the water ends and the sediments, the earth, the soil begins. And yet there's so much that exists within the water that is unknowable to us. Even now in 2020, even with all the technology that we have to kind of poke around down there to see all the animals that all the organisms we've never even seen before. And so that great mystery of water, to me, is a really great avatar or metaphor for conceit for our subconscious mind. So the earth that we can see, the everyday life, of us traveling around, commuting, maybe not so much at the moment, but in general, um, we experience, you know, 10% of that which is visible, that which is accessible to our conscious mind. And then the rest is this grand mystery that many of us glean through, glean meaning from via dreams, via premonition, via art, via creativity, all these different ways that, all these indirect ways that we experience the power of our subconscious mind in much the same way that most of the methods for exploring, the ocean floor are indirect. It's not so much that people actually swim down there and hang out there for a while. A bit too dangerous to do that. So when I think of the subconscious mind as, full of oceanic levels of perception and feeling and emotion that is beyond what language can articulate and operates more um, in what I guess I'd call archetypal, more the archetypal, more the symbolic beyond language, the symbolic beyond what is immediately legible to another human being. We all carry these universes inside of us that other people, get a taste of, but you can never completely know the ocean floor of another human being, which is so fascinating to me. Like how infinitely mysterious that we are as humans, and how that shows in our relationship to the elements, our relationship to the earth, our relationship to water. So let me bring up this visual metaphor here. So we talked about how water has this amazing scale. Um, hmm, where is it? Looks like I need to reopen. Okay. Boom. And hmm, where? Okay, I guess I have to get out of this full screen here. Constantly looking for better integration between these different apps here. So thank you for your patience. Why isn't it showing up? All right. Yeah. Okay. So we talk about how a little drop can seem harmless, but the ocean, devours anything that comes within it. Um, and also, the ocean has a certain pattern of flow. It has a certain current, has certain currency. And if you are able to ride the wave of that current, you get to align your personal power with the power of the oceanic. And I liken that to an alignment with your conscious desires, um, alignment between that and your subconscious ocean of feelings and sensations that go beyond language, that field of consciousness that is just so powerful. Um, and so I would like to take a moment and share um, a meditation, a meditation that will have a visual component to it. Ideally, if not, let's work around that. Okay, yep, nope, it's not showing up. Okay. So I'm just gonna release that and go into our own underwater, our own ocean. What is inside your ocean? Are there fish? Are there sharks? Is there blood? Are there starfish? What kind of body of water is your subconscious? I favor the ocean metaphor just because it's so, to me, huge and infinite, and there are endless discoveries made about what's in the ocean every day. And then, of course, the form of the ocean is constantly changing. Now, to our eyes, again, to the conscious mind, looking at a map, it looks like, the water, the relationship between the water and the land is more or less stable. But anyone who follows the shape of volcanoes or underwater earthquakes, anyone who's um, a geek in that way, following the various reshapings of the earth in terms of how earth and water interact with each other to create new shapes. Land masses slowly drifting away from the landmass that they may have been attached to for the past several million years. um, all things to just let yourself explore in this meditation that will go ahead and begin now. And some of you may be able to hear the sounds of the river, which I've always heard. I've always heard it, generically referred to as white noise. But a few years ago, I learned that there are distinctions between different kinds of noise. There's white noise and pink noise, and all kinds of noises. So I'll get into that more in another episode. But for today, let's simply focus on water and all the different associations um, and healing qualities of water. So imagine yourself as you're sitting or standing or laying down. Imagine feeling water tickling your toes gently. And now imagine that water rising around you so that you're about halfway submerged in this gentle, cleansing water. Notice your bodily sensations. Are you feeling at peace with the water? Are you feeling tickled and delighted by the water? Are you feeling dread as the water rises? Notice what sensations come up as the water slowly rises around you in whatever position you are imagining yourself. Imagine feeling some light dew sprinkling across your face. Light and gentle dew, a mist that you can feel across your cheeks, across your forehead, the tip of your nose, on your lips. Imagine breathing in this humidity. Is it fresh water that you smell? Is it salt water? And breathe deep in and out. And in a moment, you're going to be completely submerged in the water. And release. Notice your sensations as you emerge after being completely submerged in water. How would you interpret the sensations that you felt of being completely submerged underwater? This relatively still, gentle water. And now imagine that you are on a boat or a ship, a canoe, any boat of your liking, a raft, perhaps. And this boat is in the middle of the ocean. And when you look closely at the waves, you can see the various currents, the various flows of the water. And the boat that you are in is simply following the current. And you can feel the power of that current through your vehicle, through your boat, through your body. What sensations do you feel as that current is carrying you? And the current is carrying you in a way that leaves you feeling weightless and effortless. All you have to do is trust the flow. And you're in the middle of the vast ocean. You cannot yet see any land. You only see the circularity of the earth. And you turn your head and you see land. You see a shore in the distance. And the current that is carrying you just so happens to be carrying you in the direction toward that shore. What land is it? Is it a land that is known, a land that exists, a land of your ancestors? Or is it a land that only you know? a land of your own fantasy, a land of your own imagination. And take a deep breath in. Take in that salt water and exhale. What emotions do you feel as you travel on this vast ocean? Are there any companions around in the ocean? Do you see any fish, whales, dolphins, seals, birds? And now you're being swept up in a huge wave that carries you beyond space and time and lands you gently upon that shore. And you feel all the sensations in your body as you sit or lay down or stand on that shore. And feel the earth between your toes as the water from the ocean ebbs and flows, tickling your toes. And take a deep breath in and release. All right. So I hope that meditation was soothing, as soothing for you as it was for me. So a few announcements I want to share. Um, if you haven't already made a contribution to Lush Tongue, you can do so at any of those links in the description: Venmo, Cashapp, PayPal, all the apps. And they're all at Lush Tongue or hyphen Lush Tongue. Not hyphen, at sign, hashtag, all, all the signs with Lush Tongue, all one word. So thank you. Thank you for the heart. Um, Out School is still going strong. Fundamentals of singing for the kids. Um, you know, let me know if there is interest in the fundamentals of singing for adults. And I'm happy to set something up. Obviously, not on the OutSchool platform because that's only for the kids. All about the kids. But I'm also for the adults as well. So stay tuned for that. You can find out more by going to my email list sign up, and you'll get a newsletter once a week um, on Tuesdays. So I think that all I have to say beyond that is that in my book club, what's currently my book club, Soul Insights, and it'd be expanding into a self-development group beyond just the books that we're reading. So the book that we're reading right now is The Big Leap. Great book. And we're on the last chapter, which the timing is so perfect. So I have these audio videos that I do usually on Thursdays, kind of breaking down the chapter, deconstructing the chapter, and, seeing how it applies in our lives. And the last chapter is all about relationships, dissolving the upper limits in our relationships. And it's so apropos that, this time of year, the holiday season coming up, I already hear Christmas music. It's like people are just skipping over Thanksgiving entirely and are making that cash grab for Christmas. So this is a time of year that's fraught for many people in terms of family relationships. A lot of hidden dynamics, a lot of childhood trauma, intergenerational trauma kind of either gets glossed over or is comes to a head in a really painful way for a lot of people. Also a lot of isolation during this time of year. The lonely folks who see the other folks in their big families and um, you know, feel a yearning as far as the grass being greener. Meanwhile, the folks in the big families, surrounded by people, water everywhere, but not a drop to drink. They may feel lonely in the crowd because they may feel misunderstood, or there may be a lot of unspoken uh, swampiness that needs to be drained. To use a metaphor that I would actually rather not not in any way evoke, but the metaphor works for this purpose. So all that to say, focusing on the last chapter this week, relationships. So if you want to hear that video and all the other videos that were done on the other chapters, as well as all the other books that we've looked at in the past several months, and you're a woman who's interested in self-development, then join the Soul Insights group, Facebook group. I'll put the link in the description. And I'll make it a point to put the link in the description in general and just have it there as part of my template. Okay. Oh, and also the connection I'm making between the big leap relationships and water is, the holidays are a very emotional time of the year for all those reasons that I outlined before. And so rather than running away from the emotions that get evoked or triggered in, the various family dynamics that many of us have, the toxic family dynamics that many of us have, there's a vast gray area, I guess I'd say, between toxic relationships in our families and complete cut off and just walk away, which is also a valid choice to make when your family is just that toxic. But there's a spectrum, and if you see a possibility for owning whatever your part may be in any kind of toxic family dynamic, obviously not talking about contexts where there's some like unrepentant tyrant who's a brick wall, and and there's no possibility for trust and intimacy to be cultivated there, then you walk away. But if there is room, there's some misunderstanding that could be cleared, dissolved, and or if there is, if in reading the book The Big Leap you realize, oh, this relationship that hasn't been working is more of an upper limit problem than it is he or she is toxic or I am toxic problem, is that we both have been dancing around the elephant in the room. And who knows, maybe this book The Big Leap will help you acknowledge that elephant, and maybe you can all get on that elephant together and ride together and go off into the sunset and have the beautiful relationship that you always sensed was possible, but just didn't have the right key or right frame of mind in how to approach those relationships that are salvageable. Ones that are unsalvageable, save yourself. Get out of that rocky ocean. So with that, I think that covers everything. So we'll talk about noise in another episode. Really excited about that, the science of noise. So let's close out with Om. Oh. All right. So on that note, um, much more to say about water. Actually, I considered going into water as an amplifier of whatever is there, for better or worse. Dr. Emoto's work with messages and water and all of that. But I think that needs to be its own episode. So with that, we'll end here. Have a wonderful week and see you next Tuesday.